Hey YouTube family, we are back. In this video, we're going to talk about what acting taught me about manifesting. And in this video, I want to focus on one specific trait that I was doing that was keeping me manifesting my desires, to keeping me manifesting my best life, no matter what we want to call it. So you really want to listen up, because if you're doing this one thing that what I was doing, it's going to make it or break it for you when you're doing, doesn't matter what manifesting technique you do, it's going to make it or break it for you. So stick around. That's what we're going to talk about. But really quick here, I updated my description. So inside of the description, if you want to work with me, get in contact with me, I have recommended videos and books in the description, if I could talk English. But check that out. And lo and behold, we are going to get rocking and rolling. So what do I mean by what acting taught me about manifesting, and what this one really bad trait that I was doing that was holding everything back for me? So I don't talk about this so much. Okay. Sometimes I hint to it in some of my videos, but I worked in the entertainment industry for around 15, 16, 17 years. I'm in the Screen Actors Guild. I think they call it SAG-AFTRA now. Been in an acting union since 2004, beginning of 2004. So that's kind of what I did when I lived in Los Angeles, on and off. Sometimes I worked full time. Sometimes I had other jobs, or an entrepreneur and building my business and brand, working in IT and stuff like that. So, I worked in all facets of the entertainment industry, or almost all facets, not really all facets. But, I worked as an actor. I started off doing background work as an extra, and I worked as a co-star. I worked in commercials. I worked on the casting side. I've even worked on the production side a little bit. I worked on student films and indie films. So I've kind of done a lot. But one of the things that kind of transpired through this is I ran into a friend of mine. And my friend name is James, and we met on the set of Criminal Minds. And he was a guest star at the time of Criminal Minds. But we started a chat, and James is really good. So I asked him for a cup of coffee. I said, "Hey, can we go out for a cup of coffee? And, would you mind, helping me out with auditions, helping me out with acting, and mainly auditions at the time, because I was so used to being on set and working on set. I was 100% comfortable on set. That was kind of my safe zone." Okay. But auditioning was a whole separate can of worms. It's a whole separate skill when you just walk into an audition, and you just walk it into almost to like a white room like this. A few people are staring at you, and you have to jump into the scene. But anyway, James agreed, and we became friends over time. But he was kind of my acting coach, and we would work on really big auditions. And a lot of them he auditioned for, and then he would work with me. But one of the things he told me, one of the things that really stuck out, I really want to share with you in this video, that we were working on all my scenes. A lot of times we would really take a scene, and we would work on it for 2 or 3 weeks. And he would have to kind of fine tune and gear me in the right direction and stuff like that. But after 3 weeks, I would be like really good. But one thing he told me was that, well, Chad, it's taking you 3 weeks to kind of get there on your scene. But really what you need to do is taking you 3 weeks, but you really need to come in at that caliber. You need to come in right in the beginning when you audition at that caliber. So he said, what you're doing is that you're kind of, when you first come into an audition, you're kind of in the middle. You're not making a strong choice either way. Okay. So he said, like, if you make a strong choice either way, that's risking, of course, because if, you could give them exactly what they want, or you don't. But he said, if you make a strong choice, okay, no matter if you give them what they don't want, okay, no matter the scene or the character that you're playing, you went in a different direction than what they like, he said, but you still come off that you're really good. Okay. But he said, what you're doing, you're coming off in the middle. And when you're in the middle, you're not making a strong choice. Okay. You're not being authentic. When somebody's authentic, okay, they're making a strong choice. Either you like them or you don't like them. We meet people like that in our lives. Either we like them or don't, because they're just being them. Okay. But what I was doing in acting is I didn't know kind of really how to respond to it. And so I just showed up in the middle. So I was kind of showing up in the middle thinking they would give me direction. Then once they gave me direction, I ended up being really good. But how does this relate? One of the things is that when he said this, kind of little bells, when I started thinking about this driving home at the time, I started thinking, well, that's who I am. Okay, that's my personality. Because I kind of grew up as an empath. Okay, my dad was very strict, very overbearing. Either he screamed at you, yelled at you, you got the belt, you got whipped, or you got hit. Okay, so when you grow up as an empath, your safe zone, what you're doing as a child, you're creating a safe zone. So kind of what I did as an empath growing up as a kid, a very, very young child, as far back as I can remember, is that I always showed up in the middle. I wasn't authentic. I wasn't making strong choices either way. I just kind of showed up because that was my safe zone. You understand what I'm saying? So when I showed up in the middle, as a kid, when you show up in the middle, what you're trying to do is you're trying to figure out the person. Maybe that person's a parent, maybe it's your dad, but you're trying to figure out, well, what mood is dad in? Is dad in a good mood or a bad mood? So that's why you're showing up in the middle, because you're trying to figure out, can I just be in a normal Chad, goofy, funny, or do I have to stay more reserved and practical? More reserved is probably the best word I want to use here. When you're kind of showing up in the middle, you're more reserved. So that's how I grew up. And when you grow up that way, remember what I tell you in other videos is who you are in one area of your life is who you are in every single area. Okay. It doesn't separate it. Okay. Okay. All the pieces of pie work together. So that's what kind of clicked with me, is because I was going into my auditions just like I was in real life. Now that's a pro and con, but I was going into it almost like an empath. I was going into it in like a safe zone where I showed up reserved. I showed up in the middle. I didn't make a strong choice either way. So which made me look mediocre, made me look okay. Okay, so we kind of got this a little bit. Okay, but how does this relate to manifesting? What do I really want to tell you about manifesting here? So I want you to listen up here. How this relates to manifesting is because when you want a desire, when you want an attention, what you want out of life, when you show up in the middle, when you show up reserved, what ends up happening is you're not making a strong choice either way. Does that make sense? Let me give you an example. What do I mean by you're not making a strong choice? Okay, what it means is you're not making a strong choice if you want your dream house. You're all over the place. You might want your dream house, like your dream house, but at the same time, you're not making a choice. You're saying, well, this house over here, I'll settle for this house. Okay, maybe you want your Porsche 911 twin turbo, and that's your dream car. But at the same time, you're not making a strong choice. But at the same time, I'll settle for my Honda Civic. Okay, you're doing the same thing. Even for myself, I was doing the same thing. And this is what I realized years ago, is that, who I am in one area of my life, I'm that person in every single area. If I'm indecisive and I'm showing up to my auditions, okay, being reserved in the middle, because that's what I learned as a kid, because that was my protection zone, okay, because I'm trying to read the people, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how I can act and behave. I do the same thing with my family, my group of friends, and my best friends and acquaintances, and at work. I show up in a safe zone. I show up reserved until I figure out what the energy is. Then I act accordingly. Okay, but at the same time, with manifesting, this is what breaks manifesting. It's a do or die with manifesting, because again, you're not making strong choices when it comes to what you want. You don't have high standards on what you want. Now, hopefully this rings a bell. If you're doing something like this, or it could be something similar, or we could have the similar personality, or 100%, if you're an empath, you're probably doing this in one way or the other, because you've created a safe zone, and that safe zone is keeping you not authentic, and it's keeping you where you're not making strong choices. And the do or die with manifesting, what you have to understand is is the law of being, the law of belief. What we believe to be true will be shown to us, but it's also you having a definite plan, a definite purpose. You know definitely what you want. And when you're kind of swaying back and forth, you're showing up a life in the middle, you're showing up in life in reserved, you're showing up in life not being authentic. Well, you're not making strong choices either way. You're in the middle. Okay, you're not really saying to God, you're not really saying to the universe, well, I want this over here, and that's what I want. You're not doing that. Okay, you're kind of wishing for it, but your energy is kind of over here. More energy is over here. Well, okay, I can get this fixer upper over here. I can settle for this Honda Civic over here. So you're kind of just letting life happen, but life isn't just happening because it's always going to be what our dominant thoughts are is what ends up manifesting into our 3D world. But if you want manifesting to work for you, if you want to keep it simple, you have to be definite. You have to know what you want. You have to be authentic. You have to set standards for your life. What do you like and don't like? You're not in the middle where you're just, well, Chad's really easygoing. Chad has several different groups of friends. That's how I was in college. I had several different groups of friends. Okay, I was like a group floater. I could float in and out of different groups of friends, but those different groups never hung out together. You get what I'm saying? It's scary when we step out of the box. It's scary, like when I was acting back in the day, it's kind of scary because I got to make a strong choice. Because in my mind, I'm going, wow, well, what happened is a bad choice? What happened? They don't like it. What happened? What happened this and that? And I have all these things. But the bottom line is me just showing up in the middle, being reserved, sucked. Okay. It came out like I couldn't act at all. Okay. But once I made a choice, a strong choice, no matter if that's the way the character wanted to go or not, I showed up good. Okay, it was good. Okay, then if you're in an audition, if they want, they can tweak it and say, oh, well, Chad, I love what you did, but try it this way. Okay, they just tweak it in an audition if you look the part. But the same way in life, same way in manifesting, you have to listen to this. I want you to listen to this and grind into you. You have to be definite. You have to know exactly what you want. Okay. Like yesterday, for example, Ang and I went to the mall. I'm in Thailand, by the way. We went to the mall. We were looking at TVs, and if you know what you want, you don't even pay attention to the price. You just look at the TVs. Oh, that's an awesome TV. I want that TV. But you don't let anybody sway your mind. What Ang was doing was Ang's Thai. She's down here looking at the prices. And she's like, ooh, that TV you want is like $5,000. You know what I mean? Once you do the conversion and stuff like that. So she's like trying to look for the same size TV, but looking for a different price or a cheaper brand or whatnot. But what you have to understand is once I saw that TV, you have to be definite. No, that's what I want. Okay. Then when I walked over, I started looking at coffee makers for my house. And, I want an actual espresso maker. So if you actually get an espresso maker, it costs $1,000. Okay. To get a good one. So I go over and look at it, then, maybe your significant other's with you trying to look for a cheaper version. But since I have experience, I'm like, no, if you can't go cheap on this because it's not going to make espresso very good. But it's the same thing. What do you want? Okay, it doesn't matter the price tag. Okay, you have to just be definite and be definite on what you want and stay with that and stay with it. That's why Napoleon Hill said, have a definite purpose in life, have a burning desire. Neville Goddard said, have an intention. You set an intention and you don't change your mind until you get that intention. You don't sway from it. You don't change your mind. If it doesn't matter what you want, but be firm and definite with it. Don't be kind of pussyfoot around where you're all over the place. How I was doing. Okay. And that's really what I learned. That's really when I think back to acting and I think back to my habits, either good habits or bad habits. But what you have to understand, your habits are in every area of your life. And it's up to us. Once you become aware of it, and we'll end it with this. Once you become aware of your habits, and maybe you're doing something very similar what I was doing in this video, is once you become aware of it, Well, you can change it. You can change things from night and day. Okay. Bottom line, you can start focusing on, well, what do I want? And in the beginning, it might be hard. Okay. If you've been really indecisive, if you never really just made a strong choice, this is what I want, you might have difficulty with it for a little while. But stick to what you want. It's not bad. It's not evil to want what you want, to want the lifestyle you want. We all want different things. We all want a different lifestyle. But know what you want and be definite in it. Because the more definite you are, things will start coming to you rather quickly. But the reason why things are really slowing down, they're coming to you very, very slowly, if at all, is because you're showing up in the middle. You're showing up not authentic. You're showing up with no decisions. It's just, okay, whatever life wants to give me, I'm here. Okay, and that's what's actually happening to you. Okay, but if you're showing up definite, you know exactly what you want, well, that's showing up to you as well. It's the law of being, the law of belief, my friends. But other than that, thanks for hanging around. Don't want to have this video long-winded. Wanted to share that with you. But remember, everything will be in the description. If you want to work with me, find out new information, everything's in the description. I pin it as a pinned comment as well. Remember, peace be with you. Blessings to you. Comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.